Good morning, all of you. I am Shweta Sarangi, and in your third semester, I'll teach you the subject environmental studies. So, in the previous class, we have studied about the air pollution. Okay, so and also we have studied about the how to control air pollution. Okay, today we are going to study about the water pollution. So, water is essential for the survival of any form of life. On an average, a human being consumes about 2 liters of water every day. Water accounts for about 70% of the weight of a human body. About 80% of the Earth's surface, that is, 80% of the total 50,000 million hectares in area, is covered by water. Out of the estimated 1,011 million kilometer cubed of the total water present on Earth, only 33,400 millimeter cubed of water is available for drinking, agriculture, domestic and industrial consumption. The rest of the water is locked up in ocean as salt water, polar ice caps and glaciers and underground. Owing to increasing industrialization on one hand and exploding population on the other, the demands of water supply have been increasing tremendously. Moreover, considerable part of this limited quantity of water is polluted by sewage, industrial waste, and a wide array of synthetic chemicals. The menace of waterborne diseases and epidemics still threatens the well-being of population, particularly in underdeveloped and developing countries. Thus, the quality as well as the quantity of clean water supply is of vital significance for the welfare of mankind. An analysis conducted in 1982 revealed that about 70% of all the available water in our country is polluted. So, municipal water is mainly used for drinking purposes and for cleaning, washing, and other domestic purposes. The water that is fit for drinking purposes is called as potable water. When the quality or composition of water changes directly or indirectly as a result of man's activities such that it becomes unfit for any purpose, it is said to be polluted. Okay, so this is the due to this our pollution, our water pollution occurs only because only of human activities. So next is characteristics of potable water. So what are the characteristics of potable water? It should be colorless, tasteless and odorless. It should be free from turbidity and other suspended impurities. It should be free from germs and bacteria. It should not contain toxic impurities like heavy metals, pesticides, etc. It should have a pH in the range of 7 to 8.5. It should not stain clothes. It should be moderately soft, having hardness in between 50 to 1000 rppm. It should not be corrosive to the pipe. So these are the characteristics of potable water. Okay. Next is water pollutants and its source. So the various types of water pollutants are organic pollutants, inorganic pollutants, suspended solid and sediments, radioactive materials and heat. Okay, so briefly we are going to study about these five types of water pollutants. So first one is organic pollutants. So what is organic pollutants? Or organic pollutants are of various types. So first is oxygen demanding waste. These include domestic and animal sewage, biodegradable organic compounds and industrial waste from food processing plants, meat packing plants, slaughterhouses, paper and pulp mills, tanneries, etc. As well as agricultural runoff, all these waste undergo degradation and decomposition by bacterial activity in presence of dissolved oxygen, that is our DO. So this results in rapid depletion of dissolved oxygen from the water, which is harmful to aquatic organisms. The optimum DO in natural water is 4 to 6 ppm, which is essential for supporting aquatic life any decrease in this DO value is an index of pollution. Next is our disease causing waste. So what mean by disease causing waste? This include pathogenic microorganisms which may enter the water along with sewage and other waste and may cause tremendous damage to public health. These microbes comprising mainly of viruses and bacteria, which can cause dangerous waterborne diseases such as cholera, typhoid, polio, and infectious hepatitis in humans. Hence, disinfection is the primary step in water pollution control. Next is synthetic organic compounds. These are the man-made materials such as synthetic pesticides, synthetic detergents, food additives, pharmaceuticals, insecticides, paints, synthetic fibers, solvents, plasticizers, plastics and other industrial chemicals. These chemicals may enter the hydrosphere either by spillage during transport and use or by intentional or accidental release of waste from their manufacturing establishment. Most of these chemicals are potentially toxic to plants, animals and humans. Next is sewage and agricultural runoff. Sewage and runoff from agricultural lands supply plant nutrients which may stimulate the growth of algae and other aquatic weeds in the receiving water body. This unwieldy plant growth results in the degradation of the value of the water body intended for recreational and other uses. Okay, next is oil. Oil pollution may take place because of oil spills from cargo oil tankers on the seas, losses during offshore exploration and production of oil, accidental fires in ships and oil tankers, accidental or intentional oil slicks, as in the Gulf War between Iraq and US led Allied forces in the year 1991, and leakage from oil pipelines crossing waterways and reservoirs. So, oil pollution results in reduction of light transmission through surface waters, thereby reducing photosynthesis by marine plants. Oil pollution in seas has been increasing due to the increase in oil-based technology, massive oil shipments, accidental oil spillage, etc. Okay. So these are the organic pollutants. Next, we are going to study about the inorganic pollutants. Inorganic pollutants comprise of mineral acids, inorganic salts, finely divided metals or metal compounds, trace elements, cyanides, sulfates, nitrates, organometallic compounds, and complexes of metals with organic present in natural water. The metal organic interactions involve natural organic species. Okay. So the heavy metals such as HD, Cd and lead such as As, Sp and Ac are most toxic. The water pollution by heavy metals occurs mostly due to the street dust, domestic sewage and industrial effluents from and also polyphosphates from detergent are also water pollutants. Next is suspended solid and sediments. Sediments are mostly contributed by soil erosion by natural process, agricultural development, strip mining and construction activities. Suspended solids in water mainly comprise of silt, sand and minerals eroded from the land. So soil erosion by water, wind and other natural forces are very significant for tropical countries like India. Okay. Next is radioactive material. Radioactive water pollution may generate from from the human activities like mining of uranium ores, radioactive materials from testing and use of radioactive weapons, etc. Next is heat. Thermal pollution. Considerably thermal pollution results from thermal power plants, particularly the nuclear power based electricity generating plants. In such industries where the water is used as a coolant, the waste hot water is returned to the original water bodies. Hence, the temperature of the water body increases, The rise in temperature decreases the DO content of water. DO means your dissolved oxygen, which adversely affect the aquatic life. So these are the water pollutants. Next is effects of water pollution. So in the next class we are going to study about the effects of water pollution. Thank you.